MeTV 24 Meridian proudly presents your favorite way to start the day. Welcome to Mornings with Scotty Ray and Candace.
And good morning from Scotty Ray and Candace. Candace has her morning off, and, well, you don't look anything like her.
No.
I'm glad you don't.
Well, I guess so.
Our special guest this morning is Britt Gully, all the way in from Kemper County today, and we are glad to have you, Britt. How are you?
I'm pleased to be here. All excited about it.
From what I understand, we're going to have to change call letters this morning. It will no longer be known as Meridian, Mississippi. I think it needs to be known as Little Chicago.
Bad things have happened down there this weekend.
It has, and as you're waking up this morning, if my count is right, we're at 3 murders this weekend, a total of 8 murders since we lost our police chief in Meridian, Mississippi. And I don't care who you are, what race you are, a child never needs to die. And that happened in our little town over the weekend. If you're watching from another city, we welcome you. But we have had our issues here, and it's been a sad weekend, just horrible. When you go to bed at night, you should never have to worry about it. You're going to be able to wake up bullets coming through your wall.
Some predator.
It is exactly.
Out there shooting at folks.
So we hope that these folks are brought to justice. Now, there are tons of rumors floating around the Meridian area, and as we all know. Now, one of the big rumors is that the military has sent out a text message saying avoid certain areas of Meridian. I don't know whether that's true. I don't put a whole lot of thought into that.
I doubt that.
But the text message that I have read, does it mention some areas that you don't need to go sightseeing in? Absolutely. Most of these murders have happened within a 2-mile area, a radius. And if you want to look at it, go on Google. Do not drive through. It's some bad times until things are put under control. Am I wording that right, Britt?
Yeah, you got to put a lid on it.
Yeah.
That's bad stuff going. And did anything happen last night?
I haven't received, not yet, but that doesn't mean, because I have gotten the messages late as to what has happened before. So, to my knowledge, nothing. But if you know of something, let us know. We'll be glad to use your story.
I've never felt unsafe going to Meridian, but
starting to question that.
Well, places I go, I don't feel unsafe, but I don't go everywhere.
Yeah, there's just areas, and and then the next thought is, okay, this happened in this area of town. When will they get brave enough to where they start venturing into more public places doing this? That is a question.
And the good people that live in this whatever areas are getting this kind of stuff, they're worried to death. They don't want that. Yeah, and that's a good point. Just because you live in a certain area with this, that doesn't make you bad. There's good folks that live there, and it's just bad people visiting there. They're worried to death. If you know something, tell the law. If you know who's up to something and that kind of thing.
Maybe you've got a security system that got a picture of a car in these time frames. The little boy sometime after 4 a.m. lost his life. If you've got a security camera and you hadn't thought about it, go back, scan that. See what kind of cars. It may not be anything, but turn that over to the police. Let them look at it. Give them a chance of catching who done this. Not everybody has cameras, but somebody out there may. So that's something to think of.
Stuff.
Now, I did speak to the mayor yesterday, Jimmy Smith. I posted that and asked him to come on to do an interview. He said about in 3 weeks he would be able to. That's a long time, as we all know. Said that possibly 3 weeks, a long time. Somebody needs to hear something from somebody, whether it's the acting police chief, it's the city council, or it's the mayor. Somebody needs to come out. And he said that there may be a press conference today, tomorrow, or the next day. Let's hope there is. I don't care who he goes to talk to. We just need to hear from him. You need to hear from your leaders.
You need to know that law and order is not completely breaking down.
Well, that's correct.
Folks take matters into their own hands when they get scared.
They absolutely do. And we need a little leadership out of this during these troubling times. And by no means, with my reporting of this, am I trying to scare people. By no means am I doing that. I think you need to be aware of what's happening. So many times things happen or pushed under the carpet, so to speak, and you just hear rumors. And is it true? Is it not? There's been a lot of shootings going on.
The rumors we were talking about here this morning, my grandpa said you can hear anything but meat frying and money rattling. And
That's
there's all
true.
kind of stuff out there, and somebody's gonna believe any of it.
And what's the old saying? If you hadn't heard a rumor by 10 o'clock, start one.
I'm working on one.
see how far that goes. But it has been a rough time for us over the last 48 hours, to say the least. We hope things are going to turn around and all of this stop. Now, the next rumor that I want to address, and this is a total rumor out there, but it is being said. Can it happen? Sure, but there's nothing to back it up. Another rumor is that people from other towns are coming in to retaliate against deaths that have happened.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Chicago.
everywhere. Yes.
Chicago's sending somebody down to straighten this out. Well, whoo.
Yeah.
What's going on in Chicago? I don't think they're not going to be interested in this.
Yeah, this is a small town. That's just, it's a rumor mill. So don't pay any attention to that. Is there fighting in our town right now? There certainly is. So as things happen, we'll let you know and give you the most up-to-date, accurate information that can be found about it. So hang close.
I don't believe Chicago's sending anybody down here to straighten this out. I don't believe the military's telling folks to dodge places.
No, it would not be handled that way. But those are two of the biggest rumors that are floating throughout our city today. And again, it's rumor. Is there a text message floating around that has all that in it? It sure is. And it's a common sense thing. It just use your head wisely. We did have some robberies in broad daylight last week. That did happen. A lady was pulled up to her home to get out to go in it, and somebody attacked her, tried to take her purse. I think she held on to her purse. They did get her phone, but they didn't get her purse. They tried to. I think she whooped upside their head with her purse or something. And always 100%.
Keep your guard up all the time.
It's like the old thing, like you've seen the picture, I'm sure, a lot of safety companies use this. So the little boy that got under somebody's wheel underneath their car, 360 walk around, nowhere. What I mean by that is pay attention to all the way around you. Look. Just don't let nobody sneak up on you from behind you. So as we begin our Monday morning, did you get into the fog this morning coming down?
Something. Is it fog? Is it smoke?
It was a little fog.
I heard a rumor that says it's smoke from the fires in California.
Well.
And it can get that far sometimes.
It sure can. California is catching it. And now that you brought that up, let me just pull up a picture of California. Let me see if I can put my hands on that, because it is bad in California right now with everything that's going on. Is this it? Yeah, this is it right here. Yeah. Let me show you. This is a town in California. They're calling it the Dixie Fire. This is the town before the fire, and that's afterwards.
Wow.
And as you go down here, they got some more pictures. Look at this of what it's done. This is another before, and this is what's left of the little town there afterwards. This is Greenville, California is where this is. That's a gas station. And look at that.
What a mess.
Our hearts go out to them. These folks are losing everything that they've got. So keep them in your thoughts. Just like it was in Tennessee a few years ago when they started that forest fire around Dollywood in that area, if you'll remember that, how bad that was. So that is one of the things that is happening across America today. A lot of forest fires out there. Let me pull up some, as we mentioned, some weather here, what's going to go on today, so everybody kind of be aware of what we've got. Let me go down here. This is the heat index, and it's going to be rough today. As we pull this up, the Meridian area through here, if you're going to be working outside, don't do it past 10 o'clock. Wait till 7 o'clock tonight. Between 10 and 7, stay indoors the most you can. 100 degrees is what we're looking at, the heat index right through here. When you get to Jackson, along about Clinton there on the west side there, it's going to jump to about 105. And when you get to Vicksburg, it'll be 110 west on into Louisiana. So that's hot.
It is.
As we look at the remainder of the week, look at this. It's not much better tomorrow. And that's going to continue through Thursday is what we've got there, is what's showing up. So hot weather. And then here's our next issue that we want to look at. And I brought this up this morning. Maybe you watched at 6:30, maybe you didn't. But we got to pay attention to this. Too early to predict that it's going to be a hurricane or a tropical storm, but this is the one that we're paying attention to here. This is at 50%, this is at 40%, and the angle kind of goes this way, but this, let's back out here and let's show you some, you ever heard of those terms and weather, the spaghetti models?
Yeah.
Well, they're not looking good for us. As we look here, let's pull this up. This is what is predicted at this point. It would cut right through Haiti, up through here, and then into the Gulf. Still plenty of time. It doesn't mean that it will do this, but this is just early models. And this is at least where we showed you the 50% 5 days out. So we've got a little time. As I mentioned, I always have you some batteries and things, and a couple of extra cans of gasoline if you had to go to no power. We're notorious when these things come on the Mississippi Gulf Coast to lose power here. The wind has been saturated, so we don't want you caught off guard by any means by all this stuff. But hot stuff.
We don't need a hurricane.
No, we don't. That is, though, in the next 5 days, we'll watch it. Hopefully, it'll just die down. That's what we keep our fingers crossed. We have heard over and over that this hurricane season is going to be worse than last year. So far, we've been good. But we are moving into August, and usually that brings...
I don't think they know whether it's going to be better or worse. Take it as it comes.
Yeah, and that's the way to put it there. Well, nobody knows.
When I was at Mississippi State a long time ago, and I studying geology, you have classes in meteorology and climatology and that kind of stuff. And I remember Dr. Wax was a state meteorologist, and he came in and told us, starting out one class, one semester, said the prognostication of weather has advanced to the point over the last so many 100 years that we can tell you probably whether it's going to rain the next few days.
That's where we are.
So if they hadn't made a lot of advances in the last 20 or 30 years,
that's right.
That's still where we're at.
There's a lot of this stuff is that they predict this to where you for ratings, and that's the way it is.
We gotta have something to panic, folks. Yeah. Folks are settling down.
They can't predict a year out. They can predict about 2 weeks. They know what's coming and building, and that's where we are now. But they can't predict the worst for the year. We all know that. But
go to your almanac for that.
Almanac pretty much hits it, doesn't it? We do have a 30% chance of showers, and that will happen after 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that's where we are on the weather today. Let's turn and talk about our friends out at the Piggly Wiggly. You want to talk about a clean place to go for a plate lunch, get you something good to eat today? Because I'm not much of a cook to begin with, but Joe and his gang there certainly can.
I may go out that way when I leave.
Yeah, I would. There's a couple vegetables there, meat. Cantaloupe's on sale this week, $3.99 each if you're into that sort of thing. That's what they call it, isn't it?
That's what Papa called it.
Mushmallow.
That's what I'm going with.
Squash, if you need a little bit of that, $1.49 a pound, along with the fresh green bell peppers, 99 cents each. You can also, if you're a big ketchup person like I am, have to have you 2 or 3 reserve bottles in a cabinet in case of emergency. 2 for $6 this week. You can't never tell. Yet I can't stand to be without ketchup. As we look at the Sweet Baby Rays, you can get that 2 for $3, along with Fruity Pebbles. If you're one of those that got to have you some breakfast that way, there you go. 2 for $7, along with Oreo cookies for that sweet tooth up in the family. Dixie Crystal Sugar, if you need some coffee, $5.99 for that big old Maxwell House can there. And Snickers ice cream. Well, those sure are good. 2 for $8 for that bag of that. Eggo waffles and steaks. They got plenty of this for you this week. Boston butt, wieners, if you're looking to cook some of those, and Coca-Cola products. You'll find this and so much more at the Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, one of the greatest places to shop, clean, friendly, and they know you by name. It is.
It's good.
See them there in Collinsville today.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, you know who to call. Call me. Remember, one call, that's all.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Britt this morning. As Candace has day off, you were telling me during commercial break that you've been cooking this week?
Yeah, I've been eating really good this week. Plenty of squash.
Well, there you go.
And I fry squash. These little hors d'oeuvres I told Kimberly Jean. I've invented some hors d'oeuvres. You fry your squash.
Yeah.
And you put a little bit of tomato on it. And then you put a ring of hot pepper on top of it. And you kind of drag it around a little bit of mayonnaise. That's the best thing I've had lately.
Is it good?
Man, yeah. And everybody else may already been doing that. But I just caught on to mixing it up that way this week.
So y'all serve how do you say that word? Because I can't say
it.
Hors d'oeuvre. You know, there's just certain words in the English language I cannot master.
That ain't English.
We call it's finger food in the South, isn't it?
I think it is.
Yeah, there you go. But so you've been hard. Somebody told me also that with eggs, scrambled eggs, that you ought to put your little blue plate down in your skillet first before you throw your eggs in.
I tried that, but it'd probably work.
There's
Gotta grease it with something, and mayonnaise ought to be fine.
But they say that makes it a different. And I have thrown some cheese in there.
That works.
That's good stuff too. But I'm not much of a cook. I can cook an egg and deer sausage. That's what I've mastered so far. And I burn the sausage every time.
I do fairly well. I'm not. I don't really have an apron with my name on it and all that kind of stuff. But I can keep from starving. Kimberly Jean can cook anything.
Can she?
If you get her to do it.
Oh, that's the thing. Getting her motivated.
Yeah.
Doug Jernigan said put mustard on it. Now, I do put mustard on my eggs. Now, there are that group of people, and I know y'all are out there watching, that break out the ketchup on the eggs, and I can't do that. That's just different.
I wonder where Doug Jernigan got his put mustard on it idea.
I don't know.
I know.
You do know.
I told him.
Oh. Blue plate mayo on anything, Britt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Jimmy's a great cook. Jimmy will fix candy and bring it to the house.
Well, man, I didn't know all that.
Yeah, he's a wonderful cook. He said they grew up thought that the men ought to be able to cook and the women ought to be able to make a crop if they had to. So Jimmy's a Renaissance man. He can do anything.
Yeah, and I just was never educated in that enough. I'm learning though the older you get. And I didn't do it. When Angie got down, when she got sick, is when I started having to do, what do you call those little things there? You put in the little...
TV dinner.
Yeah, chicken pot pies. I didn't let her go hungry, folks. But that was the best I could do. You know who the guy that owns My Pillow is, don't you?
Yeah.
He's claiming this week that he's got some more evidence that is going to be coming out that proves Trump actually won the election. It's going to be put out over the internet. Fox News has, and what he done was he made a commercial that didn't say any of that, but just promoting that he had an event coming up online, and they refused to run the advertising. He has since pulled his advertising with Fox News over this. It's made him mad. Did you realize how much money he spent with them last year?
He's made a lot of money and spends a lot of money. Advertising?
Yeah, $50 million he spent with them last year. They wouldn't run the advertising for it, so he's canceled.
Well, he needs to talk to you.
Yeah, I can hook the man up.
Let's get him.
Wow. Now, I have no idea what he's going to release this week, but that is supposed to start. It's like a 2 or 3 day event in South Dakota, and it's going to be broadcast live somewhere on the internet. So be looking for that. Mike Lindell, we'll see if he's got something new to add to it. He got into an argument with a CNN reporter the other night, and he told him they could still be friends at the end of it. Remember the Newsmax guy that walked out on him, just left him there live on TV?
Yeah.
That hurt Newsmax when they were trying to climb. That did not do them any good to do the man that way. Is there any proof of all this? I don't think it will ever come out.
They'll keep I think shenanigans went on.
Just can't be proved. There was some stuff that's a good way to put it.
And if you drag your feet for a month, no, we're not going to look over here. Well, all that time, no, we're not going to look over there. Nothing happened. Well, there's not going to be anything over there when you finally do look.
Absolutely. Shredders. That happens. Everybody knows that does go on there. And over the weekend, and I don't, everybody's got their opinion. You're an American. You have a right to choose what you want with your health. That's what makes us America. You do have that choice, whether you want the vaccine or not. You choose that. I've taken it. I think you've taken it also. But you're not forced to take it. There's folks that are out there going, you got to take this. And I don't know whether what to believe in this. And let me pull this up so I can quote this correctly. I want to pull this up before I misquote somebody and just put him on the hot spot there. Let me scroll down here where I put this last night. I got it here just, and I apologize, it's live. It just can't be changed. It's how things do when it's live. Right here, let's go to my Facebook page here. Garth Brooks. Here it is. And this is his quote. I'm vaccinated. I encourage you to get vaccinated, but until it's a law, it's a choice. Garth Brooks. Now, did I read too much into that in Garth wanting that to be a law, to be mandated?
I think so. I think the microphone in front of him, so he's got to express his opinion.
I don't think that should be a law. I think you're right. I don't think it's right that they would make you show a card to where you could buy groceries. I don't agree with that. That makes us not a free country anymore.
Wouldn't that all be in violation of HIPAA laws?
I would think so, but I've seen online, and I've just seen the headline to where they go, well, no, that doesn't cross the line. I don't see how it couldn't.
And if you got a private business and you want everybody in there vaccinated or everybody unvaccinated, it's your private business.
That's correct.
You can do it the way you want to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think they can force you. They can't constitutionally force you to take a shot.
But we've got so many people that don't follow the Constitution anymore. But
never heard of the Constitution.
L.A. is the next city that is trying to mandate that without that vaccination card, you can't do anything. And we all know this it's kind of spooky.
Kind of biblical, ain't it?
That's where I was going with that. So just heads up on all that. Now, one thing that you will learn, the federal government is paying people like Garth Brooks or somebody that has over 10,000 followers, what they call like YouTube influencers, that if you've got over 10,000 people that follow you, they will pay you to try to convince people to take the vaccination. Do you know that?
No, I did not know that.
It's like advertising dollars.
Propaganda.
Yeah. One of the good guys, I call him a good guy, Mike Rowe refused to do it. They offered it to him, and he wouldn't do it. Mike Rowe makes a lot of sense, and it is your choice whether you want to do it or not. And it's not his place or my place to tell you got to go do it. Now, things that I have observed, if you take the shot, you can still get it. I think a lot of people were under the thought that if you got the shot, you couldn't get sick. And they may have even in the beginning portrayed it that way a little bit, that you wouldn't get sick. Yeah. But you can. I think you don't get as sick if you have the shot.
And you weigh out your odds. What's the pluses and minuses on you? Some people's health, they're worried this is going to affect them adversely. Right.
And some people can't take the shot because of their health condition. Yes. So that's not right. I saw where a little girl was denied she'd won a college scholarship and she wouldn't take the shot because of her sickness. And they took back the scholarship because she wouldn't take it. Well, it wasn't healthy for her to take it. Yeah. Just this makes you wonder where things are shaping up, what people are thinking there.
I'm not going to tell anybody what they got to do and what they don't have to do.
That's right. It just doesn't work right. Now, a New York Times reporter is in a little bit of hot water, getting a little backlash on this next story. Maybe you saw the headlines this weekend where Obama threw his 60th birthday party. And I thought that was going to be like a one-day party. That was an all-weekend event where they all went to breakfast. He did scale back. I don't know what the number is. It was at 500 plus at one point, but nobody was wearing masks whatsoever. And the reporter from the New York Times was running down the bikers, and I don't want to mess with them old boys that are out in South Dakota at, what's that, Sturgis?
Sturgis, yeah.
They had a big party over the weekend, too. She blamed Sturgis for not wearing masks, but said it was okay for the Obamas because they were a little bit more, I guess the way to word it is, more educated on the subject. It ain't going over real well for her right now.
I say we mix the two crowds up and let them settle with this thing.
I think we'd know how that would turn out. Yeah. Oh, have mercy. But that's a few of the headlines this morning that's shaping America on those two subjects there. A pretty rough one there. We did lose. Do you remember? Let me find her name. This lady here, and let me pull up her picture, Britt. She was on Night Court. Do you remember her? She was
Marky.
Yeah.
Marky Post.
She was also on The Fall Guy. She passed away this weekend due to cancer. She's been fighting. She was 70 years old, fought the battle for a year, and has passed away.
Gracious.
Yeah, so condolences to her family also. I know that I don't think you've ever been asked to play any of this in a nightclub. But, of course, as I put on there, the legend himself is here. But you've never been asked to play a Kool and the Gang song in a nightclub, have you?
Probably.
But the lead singer...
I wouldn't say I've ever played one, but
you might have been
with
asked.
somebody else.
But Dennis D.D. Thomas was one of the founding members of Kool and the Gang, has passed away over the weekend. He was also 70. So, and then there's one more in this one. You would have to tell me who she was. She was a child star. And here's the headline from this morning here. Former child star Jane Withers. Did you know her?
I've heard of her, yeah.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame. She passed away. I believe she was 95 years old. So
she made a good run.
She did. But some of the celebrities that passed away over the weekend, that happened there. So how's the garden coming?
Pretty good. It's grassy. You got to dig through the jungle to pick peas, but I'm picking peas when I get back home today.
I started out with, and I counted them, 178 watermelons. I think there's 5 left on the vine that may make it. They turn brown and they die. I don't.
Too wet.
I guess that's what it is. You know, on the end of them, they'll just turn black and then they start rotting. We had such a big rain that I don't think if I get 5, I'll be lucky.
Yeah, should have planted rice.
Yeah, that'd been better, wouldn't it?
We planted a lot of old type tomatoes. Well, not a lot, but it's
What's an old type tomato? Because I don't know this.
Heirloom tomatoes. Cherokee purples or something like that.
How they taste?
Wonderful. It's the best tomatoes I've ever tasted. They are the ugliest tomatoes I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you got to bring one next time you come. Because I don't guess I've ever seen one.
They are great, but they look terrible.
Look terrible.
Green and purple and maroon and just bad.
I had never known
They
it.
taste wonderful.
So
They're not bred for looks or shelf life.
So did you step up and get you an automatic pea sheller in the end? Have you got one of those?
I didn't.
Your fingers still hurt.
Yeah. I used to be a real good pea sheller.
What happened? You started picking guitar?
I've slowed down. I got purple thumbs, everybody.
That stuff does it. I know we've gotten television, we've gotten cell phones, but that pea sheller may be the greatest invention that ever come along. You just kind of put it through.
Feed them through.
And if you've never shelled a pea in your life and you're watching, trust me, that is the truth of what really goes on there.
But wasn't pea shelling such fun when we were kids?
Yeah.
You'd sit out under the shade tree and your cousins and all, and you'd sit out there and the aunts and uncles and everybody telling old stories about when they were growing up. And it was fun.
It was.
A memory I treasure.
You can't take those back. As we turn to some things that went on in this date, and I know that you knew this guy, Merle Kilgore was born on this day back in 1934. And, of course, the history with Merle is he did work for Hank Sr., and then he also was Hank Williams Jr.'s manager until his death.
Yeah.
And what was he, 14 or 15 when he got to tote Hank's stuff?
Yeah,
something like that.
Toted his guitar in at the Louisiana A-Ride.
Now, also with this is the Johnny Horton story with Merle Kilgore. Of the little drummer. How did it go? The little drummer beat, to where the postcard. Do you remember the story with all that?
On to this.
Now, Merle Kilgore and Johnny Horton were good friends. They lived next door to each other. And Horton had this thing to where he thought that he could connect with the other side.
Yeah.
And he told him that he felt like he was going to die and he was going to be killed by a drunk, is the way he put it. So the last 2 weeks of Horton's life, anywhere that he played in a club, he stayed away from anybody that had been drinking, real nervous about it. And he tells Merle at the fence, and I can't remember the exact wording, But if I die, I'm going to send you this message. And it was an obscure note of the drummer beats, something like that. Well, sure enough, 2 weeks later, he's killed in a head-on collision, leaving the Louisiana hayride in the early mornings of the hour by a drunk driver.
On an iron bridge.
Yeah.
Nowhere to go, and a head-on collision. And Johnny Horton felt this stuff so strong that he had taken defensive driving classes.
Sure did.
To dodge stuff like that, but he's on an iron bridge, a one-lane bridge, and there's nowhere to go.
And do you remember what the note
Not
was?
exactly.
But it's something about the little drummer boy beats to a certain... Okay, so time goes by. 4 or 5 years or something like that. Merle Kilgore is in L.A., I think is where it was, L.A. or Chicago, and he's filling in on a radio show. And the Ring of Fire had just come out. And the guy that's co-hosting with him announces it's Merle Kilgore. And so the phone rings. And it's a woman. And she goes, hey, we were at, I guess is what you'd call like a seance last night. She goes, I've never heard of you, but your name came out of it, and I'm supposed to give you this message. And of course, he's sitting there going, yeah. And it's the exact quote that Johnny Horton told him. Now,
Wow.
So do you believe it? Was it made up? I don't know. But boy, it sure makes a country legend story.
Wow. And Johnny Horton and Merle Kilgore and Johnny Cash, they said when they were all on the Louisiana hayride that just every weekend there was some kind of seance to try to talk to Hank Williams. And
Did anybody
they
ever?
got real paranoid about it from what
So I didn't know that.
I read, that anytime they'd hear something bump the window or door squeak or something at night, they thought it was Hank trying to talk to them.
What would Hank say today?
I don't know.
It's an interesting thought there.
And Johnny married Hank's widow.
Yeah, that all really got, Billie Jean.
And one of the funniest quips anybody ever had. Billie Jean was a looker. I mean, some kind of looker.
She was.
And she went from Shreveport to Nashville with Fair and Young. And they got up there, and Hank was impressed with her.
To say the least.
Yeah, and supposedly, and I think he probably done it, but I don't think he was going to shoot him, that he pulled out his pistol on the Fair and Young. He told him, I tell you what, boy. He said, me and you were swapping dates. I'm going to marry that guy.
And he did.
And it rocked on like that, and Hank died. Then she married Johnny Horton.
He dies.
He died. And she was around Nashville a good bit, and she sort of enjoyed spending time with the hot new country singers of the day, and she made a move on Waylon.
Oh, I didn't know this.
And Waylon told her, no, ma'am, I'm scared of you. You killed Hank Williams, you killed Johnny Horton, and you stunted Fair and Young's growth. I'm afraid to have anything to do with you.
Now, that's a good story. I didn't know that.
Said it was just that instant whether she was going to get mad or laugh. And so she started laughing.
Really?
Hugged his neck, and they were friends from then on.
The last I had kept track of her, she was in a nursing home in Shreveport.
I think she's still alive.
Yeah, that's the last. All right, we've got it. Joy Cook Lewis sent it in. Drummer is a rummer, and he can't hold the beat, is what the message was to Johnny Horton.
I've heard that before.
I just couldn't remember how. Thank you so much, Joy, for sending that in. And that's what was said. Huh. It's interesting, those behind the scenes. So, you ain't had Hank talk to you lately?
Not lately.
Okay, all right.
I think he rode back with me one night from an old joint in South Alabama. I'm pretty sure.
Somebody up in the car with you. Let's see, it was 1944 that we started seeing Smokey the Bear for the first time. It was debuted in 1944. And he's been the spokesperson pretty much ever since there.
Smokey the Bear, huffing and a puffing and sniffing in the air.
I hadn't heard that in forever, Britt.
I think I made up some of the words.
It'll be all right. No, they'll believe us. Let's see here. But if a cow, what is this about the cows here? My mother-in-law, your kinfolks here. Did you know if there's dew on grass, most likely not to rain, but if cows gather under trees and lay down, it's going to rain? Per Barbara and Madison, our weather report for the day.
All right, there you have it, folks.
I've always heard that if a cow lays down, it's going to rain. How much truth to that? Because I've been in arguments with people about that before.
Our cows didn't get the memo.
They didn't. They'd stand up all the time during the rain. Born on this date in 1963. Y'all remember her from the movie Bodyguard, if nothing else. She was a fantastic singer. Such a waste. Of course, she redone Dolly's I'll Always Love You, and Dolly made at least $10 million plus off of the song. Of course, she died in the bathtub. She drowned back in 2012.
She was related to Sissy Houston and
Yeah.
Dionne Warwick. Somebody
Maybe. That I can't.
Somebody that was all kinfolk.
But what a voice she had. She really did. It was 1969. I was just coming into this world when all of this went down. Charles Manson cult killed Sharon Tate on this date, and a total of 5 people.
I remember this a little bit.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I was just born that year, but boy, has it stayed in the headlines ever since.
When I was in high school, word got out that somebody was getting out on parole, and Vincent Bugliosi. That's his name, wasn't he? The prosecutor. Yeah. He was teaching at the W, and word got out that somebody involved in it was getting out, and he was headed to Columbus, Mississippi, to kill Vincent Bugliosi, and we were to all be watching for him. He came from Kemper County to get there.
Yeah, so it kind of spooked everybody.
Yeah, I don't know, 77, 78, something like that.
This Manson, the power that he held over these girls was just unreal. If you watch any of these documentaries and listen to what this man said, he was had that Jim Jones feel, if y'all know what I mean. Good morning to Barbara Cullum watching from Cades Cove, Tennessee this morning. Well, that's out there a little bit there. I'm sure that you've sang this song once or twice while you've been in the honky tonks and where else. This was a big song. How much the truck cost back then? $3,000?
Probably something like that.
Yeah. Things are a lot different now when you go by that. But Jerry Reed, one of the most famous folks that ever come out of it. I mean, he wasn't Smokey and the Bandit. We also saw on this date, I can remember as a child, every night this being on, but Gerald Ford was sworn in as the next president of the United States on this day back in 1974. He would not win re-election. And he did trip going up Air Force One.
Yeah, and I think he done a pretty good job while he was there.
Yeah. And then we got Jimmy. Jimmy meant well. He just didn't know any better.
Didn't turn out.
You're going to have one of those every once in a while. I think Jimmy in his heart, Jimmy Carter's who I'm referring to, I think Jimmy in his heart really meant well for the country, but just couldn't get those peanuts to line up for him, so to speak there. And let's see here. 1976, one of the greatest albums that ever hit the market was there, and it's been a duet ever since. Hit the store shelves and golden rings. George Jones and Tammy, that album came out on this day. Leanne Womack did a great version of that. She's done it with Alan Jackson. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I don't think I have.
Also, what's his face that passed away? Daryl Singletary and what's the Rhonda Vincent. They've done fantastic jobs with that.
Singletary could outsing anybody in town.
He could. If I remember right, Randy Travis discovered him, didn't he?
I'm not sure.
If I remember right, he hung around Randy's bus till Randy would listen to him, and he got a contract out of it due to that.
He came down here for one of the Jimmy Rogers festivals, and I got up on stage with him and sang California Blues or something like that, but came into town early and met up with him. Joel Payne.
Yeah, Joel, real close to him.
And Joel told him, man, Britt Gully's got a song you need to record. And arranged for me to meet up with him and sing the song. And he liked the song a lot. I let it all hang out. I sang it for him, and he liked it. He didn't last long after that.
No, he
young.
Golly, what, 42? We sure hate that. It was a loss. Anybody that can sing the note, boy, was that not a country tearjerker? We also welcome Elmer Talbert watching from MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. Thank you for joining us this morning. Denise says, do y'all remember Billy Beer? I do remember Billy Beer. And I guess there's a couple cans of that probably sitting on shelves somewhere. Probably it was a collector's item, to say the least. Let's see. Wayne tells us that I've always heard the cows are laying down and the fish will not bite. Stay at home. If the cows are down, the fish aren't going to bite that day.
I don't know about all that.
Kind of makes sense, though.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
So don't go fishing today, Wayne.
Okay, Renee Burt says if cows are lining the fence, bad weather's coming. Any truth to that on your farm?
Once again, my cows didn't get the
Didn't get the memo?
the memo.
But these are some great old
I've
sayings.
heard all of these things, and I've sort of watched to see if it applies, and I don't think it does.
Just doesn't fit yours.
Yeah, that don't seem to.
But that cow thing, I've heard that laying down all my life. So anyway, that's thoughts on that. Let's take a minute and talk about our friends at one of our newer sponsors that joined us here, Maple's One Stop Shop. If you're looking for a place in town to get gas, they've got 4 great locations scattered around, locally owned, conveniently owned. If you're going to be there in the Broadmoor area there across from Mr. Discount Drugs, drop in to see Maple's One Stop Shop there. You'll see them there in Broadmoor there. And one of the things that they're doing is if you fill up with your gas, take your receipt, write your name and telephone number on it, drop it in the box inside, give it to the cashier. They're drawing for $50 worth of gas each week. Isn't that pretty good? They're going to draw for that. Yeah, $50 helps for that gas.
Fun.
Yes, it is. See them there. Do that in any of the stores there, and they'll take that and your chance to win that $50 fuel card. And again, drawn weekly. If you're looking for a cup of coffee on the way to work, maybe you need a drink in the afternoon, something cool, they got plenty of fountain drinks as you go in. Cold ones, if you'd rather prefer the bottle type, they got that also. And as you'll see, they're clean. They stay on top of this to keep their stores up to date. Also, if you're looking for lunch, the Bonita and Pine Spring store, which is also known as the country store, had the pizza deal where you can get a slice of pizza, a bag of potato chips, and a 20-ounce fountain drink for only $4.99. All their Maples there. You'll see them. They also got crickets at the bait shop there at Pine Springs. Whole lot more. If you need a lottery ticket, wanting to get you one, they've got all of that. See it, Maples One Stop, Bonita Chevron, Pine Springs, or Last Chance Tobacco, Broadmoor Chevron. See them all. They'll take care of you there.
Got you covered, don't
They
they?
sure do.
Coming home from work, I was involved in a multi-car wreck. It was obvious that I needed help.
I'm Mississippi Attorney Richard Schwartz. I'm proud to represent the people of the great state I call home. And if you need me, Mississippi, remember, one call, that's all.
And welcome back with Scotty Ray and Britt. Another thing that happened on this day, and I don't care who you are, what you do, you've seen this picture. You've seen this album somewhere. This was released. It went #1 there, Urban Cowboy. And I might have spelled urban wrong at the top there. I just caught that there. But went #1, the soundtrack to it.
I remember all of that.
The school teacher.
Made the price of our clothes go up.
It sure did.
We already wearing. Everybody wanted them.
Oh, they wanted cowboy hats, button down, the snaps that become real popular there. But you know, it was a school teacher from the Mississippi Gulf Coast that wrote "Looking for Love."
In all the wrong places.
And the story goes with that was in a box, and they just happened to listen to it and found it at the last minute before the movie started.
It was a big hit.
It was.
Good song. I was trying to learn how to play guitar then. I think that was one of the first songs off the radio that I figured out and thought I'd done a good job of.
Done pretty good. And Charlie Daniels even had a song on that, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken. I don't remember the name of it.
Folks in Texas, something other.
Yeah, I remember seeing him in the movie.
Yeah, some good stuff on that soundtrack.
Sure was.
And I watch parts of that every now and then when it comes on.
Oh, it's one of those, if you stumble upon it, you can't turn it.
Yeah.
You got to see, you know how it's going to end, but it's all right.
What a wonderful bad man Scott Glenn is.
He played that part great. Of course, he was in My Heroes Have Always Been Cowboys also. But Scott Glenn, and he was also in Silverado as one of the cowboys there. He's a good actor. So there you go. 1985, this was #1 on this date. You remember this one? Can't Keep a Good Man Down? Mm-hmm. Randy doesn't quite look like that anymore, but boy, that was a good song
He
back then.
sings about good as he ever did.
He sure does. He doesn't jump around as much.
Well, good.
He used to do that 1-foot thing, jump around with that guitar. That's over. Forget that. But they are great singers still to this day. 1986 came along with this one, Rockin' with the Rhythm of the Rain. You remember this from the Judge? Did you consider them better together than when Winona split?
I guess so, yeah.
Mama Judd was she was a great influence. She sang great.
We played a show with them when Scott's thing was going on at the Temple Theater. I think you were down there.
I was there. I remember
Y'all
that.
might have been behind filming the show or something.
Who was behind the curtain there for sure? Boy, that's been a few years ago. I'd forgotten about that.
90, 89, 90, somewhere along
Yeah,
there.
sure was. I'm glad you brought that up. I'd forgotten all about it. Somebody had posted online over the weekend. Do you remember when Blake Shelton and also Joe Nichols played together? That was a great show. Teamed up with Jimmy Rogers and put that on.
Yeah,
Big show.
Ag Center.
That was one of the better, and it was a moneymaker.
And they were both so new that they didn't have a lot of material
Right.
to do. And they got out there, they just lapsed over and they done their hit. And then they jumped into their Texas honky tonk dance hall show. Then it was good.
It really was. John Ellis says that you used to do some jumping around while you were on stage. Britt, I didn't know about this.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. John knows about it. I think, I don't know if John was there, but I know his daddy was there and mama. His uncle was playing in the band with me the night I had a wireless.
You had a Garth Brooks thing?
Well, for a while I used one of them a little bit too, but for my guitar.
Oh, okay.
So I could play something with a lot of guitar picking and charge out into the crowd. And I would do it. And one night at Pier 2, I was doing my little walk and jumping from one table to the other. Folks liked it, and you'd kick over their beer every now and then, but they didn't care. Jumping from one table to the other and carrying on, playing Hoochie Coochie Man or something like that. And you'd reach down and pick up somebody's beer bottle and play slide with it. And shook it enough, it'd spew up in the air. So everybody'd go for it. But they got ceiling fans at Pier 2.
Oh, Lord.
And I'd squatted down in front of somebody playing slide and got ready to leave, and I stood up and something whacked me. And I went back down. What was that? The next time I stood up, it knocked my hat off.
So you've been whooped by a ceiling fan.
So the next night we went over there, I took Daddy's IC&G Railroad hard hat with me and put it behind my amplifier until time to make my stroll across the tables. And I put down my cowboy hat and put on Daddy's hard hat.
That's funny.
And got out there with them.
Now, I've been changing. You ever been out and changing a light bulb or something, forget one is there, and you lean up, and I've been hit by that with. Never on top of a table, though. Hey, we got us another old saying here. If the horses are under the pear tree, it's going to rain. You ever heard that one?
No.
That's new to you?
But, Milton's a lot older than us, so
he may know.
He probably knows.
So we do appreciate that. Let's see.
The pear tree.
1993, George Strait was sitting on top of this. It was released. Easy come, easy go.
He ruled the roost then.
I almost think that that's some fake grass there. I don't think he was actually in that field.
Is that a real dog?
It may not be. You know how they do the illusion there these days. That may have been a total. And this really changed America. This would be the beginning of a lot of riots that rocked America. On this date back in 2014, Michael Brown was killed. And if you remember all of that, he approached the cop car. There was an argument of some sort, and he was shot.
Yeah.
And it was riot after riot.
And then the video came up of the strong arm robbery in that store.
Yeah.
Him doing it.
It was right before that had happened.
He was a gentle giant. Well, he was robbing this place. And
Sure
roughing
was.
somebody up and taking what he wanted. And then just a few minutes later,
Him and
run
the
into
cop had the altercation, and then it got ugly. As we remember, a lot of things were burned, and it was not a good time. And that almost looks like child play compared to what's happened in America since then. They call them protests, and they turn into riots a lot of times. You should never burn anything. I don't agree with any of that's happening across the nation. Happens all the time now. They did make an arrest. I don't know if the girl that was in Gone Girl, Lisa Baines. Do you remember her? She was in New York. She'd gone up to film something. She was getting ready to cross the street, and a guy comes along on a little scooter and hits her. Bumps in accidentally, hits her, and she falls to the ground, and it knocks him off, and he jumps up and rides off. She died from it.
Gracious.
She made it in the hospital about 10 days, and they have now found out who he is. He was 26 years old from Manhattan, and he's going to be charged with murder.
Wow.
And he should have stopped.
Yeah.
Accidents happen. If you're ever involved in anything, stop. That's the right thing to do. So who would take over if Cuomo is thrown out of office?
Kathy Cool.
Yeah, and and let's take a look at her. This is a picture of the lady that would take his place. Should this, and it will probably take a couple years, but this is what she looks like. This would be the new governor if he steps down or is impeached. Yeah. At one point in time, she was endorsed by the NRA. That went away because they lean left in that state regardless.
Different attitude.
Yeah, they look at things a little different there.
I don't believe they're going to do anything with him.
A lot of talk.
Yeah.
He definitely
Something
will
else
not.
Comes up to get attention, and
It'll fade away. He's definitely not going to resign. People like that do not resign. They didn't get to where they are by bowing to anyone, and he will not. So that's a little bit of the headlines that are going on there. The odds are very high, is what they're saying, that the FDA will approve use of COVID vaccination for kids under 12 in school. That's out there. There's a lot of people that don't want that for the kids. But that is news talk of what's going on, that they will approve that for kids under 12. Want you to know about it, for definitely what's going on there. I don't understand this. Totally do not. This infrastructure bill that is in there, and it may pass today or tomorrow. It's $1 trillion.
a lot of stuff in it that has nothing to do with infrastructure.
Right. And this is one of the things that's in there. In one degree, you think, well, that might be a good idea so people won't drink and drive. But they've got in there to where it would be a bill to where starting in 5 to 10 years from now, every new car that is manufactured would have a blowing tube in it to where if you've been drinking, the car won't run on every new car that exists. Is that good, bad, or... Also, it would have an alarm in the car if you left a child, someone on the back seat, closed up the doors, that alarm would go off. It would be like a hot alarm. It's a good thing, but should that be included in this? I don't think so.
Not in that, and they're busy trying to protect us from ourselves.
Yeah.
People should have some common sense.
And it seems America has lost when you can't think for yourself anymore. A lot of people that don't do that.
And your breathalyzer thing in your car, well, how long is that going to work?
Right.
You know, my radio quit. Well, what if I'm breathalyzer?
Yeah, you're not going to take it.
Trying to go home, don't drink at all, and it won't crank for you.
Yeah. People put things off. You're right. So, yeah, if your radio quits, you just go on about your business. But they'll figure out a way to hotwire it to go past that. There'll be hacks, and we all know that. Boy. So that's some of the headlines that's happening in the big city of New York this week. Let's talk about our friends over at Snowden & Company. If you're looking for a home, you need a new one, maybe you want to move out of the city, you want to move to the county, or whichever the case is, they can help you out there at Snowden Real Estate. Drop in and talk to them today. They can help you. Amanda's there. Find the dream home that you're looking for. And as well, if you're getting ready to sell your home, one of the biggest investments that you will ever make, and you want the absolute most for your home that you can get, well, talk to them. Demand is high right now. Don't just put a for sale sign out in the front yard and get rid of it. Don't cut yourself short. Talk to Amanda. They'll go through this. She's got an extraordinary marketing strategy. She can give you exposure like you've never seen before, and precision to detail. They're going to do this. It's going to be hands-on to the end. All this paperwork that makes no sense to you and I, they know what to do. Lauderdale, Kemper, Newton, Neshoba, Clark counties is where they handle all of their homes. See them. A few homes that are out there. Visit them online at snowdenrealestate.com. This ever changes every day of different homes that are available. Let them put the keys to your home in someone's hand, or, well, in your hand. See Amanda today. She'll help you out, a designated seller representative. She's a certified real estate negotiating expert, one of the sweetest people you'll ever bump into. Good girl, come from our home county there. Poplar Springs Drive is where their office is. Call them at 453-3937. That's Snowden Real Estate. See them today.
I'm Laura from Columbus, Mississippi, and it took one call and that was all. I called my Mississippi attorney, Richard Schwartz, and he got me $250,000.
If you need me, Mississippi, remember, one call, that's all.
Sanders Gas want to remind you, if your air conditioner's not working right today, give them a holler. Yeah. They got same-day emergency service. If yours quits, they'll come and run it.
It'll be an emergency, won't it?
We've got heat indexes of 100 today. Maybe yours isn't quite cooling the way it ought to today. Call them. They'll come out and work on that and get you back straight again. Sanders Gas, 22nd Avenue in Meridian. See them, and they'll help you out there. Coming up at the top of the hour, we got about 6 minutes left before they tell us me and you got to go away.
This needs to be a 2-hour show.
I know. We just can't get it all in. Let's see here. What you got on tap today? What's your schedule? Where are you headed to?
Well, if I can't get home by 10 o'clock, I got to shut it down by 10 because you said I'd die in the garden.
Yeah, you can't work it.
We put a fireplace in, an electric fireplace in this week.
In the summer? Boy, you talk about somebody that prepares.
Kimberly Jean found one. We moved the huge TV to the corner of the room so we can open the front window.
Right.
And she found something she wanted, price thing. She ordered it
to
go underneath the TV.
Yeah.
And it's an electric fireplace, and it's got these little things that look like flames. It's beautiful.
Really?
So we hadn't had the heater turned on, but we've had them flames go. It looks good.
Let me see here.
The cat laying in front of it.
It's going to be photography like never seen before. Let me see if I can turn this camera on here. Camera 3. I got one of those against the wall over there. I've never turned it on. Oh, yeah, that's not right. That's my new table that we're building.
Yeah.
Well, I got one.
Wood.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, can't see anything in that one. Yeah, I ain't got the camera angle right. But we got one against the wall over there. I've never used it. So, I bet your flames look better than my flames.
They look pretty good. It's got lights on the side, and I got it wired up the way it said to. So if you lean over and touch the hinge, the lights come on.
Really?
Touch it again, it goes off. Now it's liable to electrocute me one night. But the flame looked good, baby.
Have you turned the heat on just to see if it?
No, I haven't done that.
I don't suggest it either. Wait a few months.
I'm confident it's going to work.
Oh, let's see here. Other things that are going. Washington football team. Have you seen this where they've banned to where if you go in the stadium, and of course the Washington Redskins have changed their names because they felt it was racist, but they have banned anybody wearing what would be considered Native American makeup or a headband, period, to any of the games. Same as NASCAR's banned a bunch of things.
It's silly. It's a tribute. It expresses admiration. You name your team for something that you admire, and it's a tribute to them. And it's much ado about nothing and ignoring real problems to carry on over something like that.
Yeah. Another big story of this, and there's one guy that they're calling the king of it, and I can't remember his name. This to where you could not be evicted during this COVID thing, to where rent was free, and it really boils down. Tucker Carlson took a stand on this, and he goes, "You pretty much, the government is telling you don't own your home anymore if somebody can stay there without paying you." And this guy has been in somebody's house for a little over a year and will not leave. I don't think that's right.
Crazy. Who's going to pay the fella that owns it all? Who's going to pay his bills?
Yeah, he's got a note to make. And that's the way it works.
And well-meaning people can mess up some stuff. Think, well, that sounds good to me. Well, no, it don't. Think it on through.
They've made it another arrest from the January 6th little congregating. This guy right here, they finally tracked him down. He dressed as a patriot and was at the Capitol back in January. He's been arrested. Facial recognition got him. That's the way it done. Facebook does that, and many other platforms.
What did he do?
Breached the Capitol. He was inside, so he's been arrested.
You've seen the videotape of the Capitol Police opening the door.
I have.
Coming on in.
They let them. Somebody told them to let those folks in.
And then you see these idiots climbing up the wall, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It wasn't all the same thing.
No, it was not. And of course, there's a lawsuit going on of the young lady that was murdered or killed, however you want to word that, by the police officer. They won't release all the information.
And that sort of looked like, well, got to shoot somebody. I'll shoot her.
Yeah, it's nasty, and it's going to get worse and worse. We want to say thank y'all for coming by and visiting with us today. Britt, it's been a lot of fun. We've learned a lot about cows and how it's going to rain today.
Tell you what, I'm having a talk with my cows when I get home.
They ain't cooperating right, are they? Yeah, and Ray Streetbeck said they've done a lot of banning at Talladega as well. They have. Yeah. So that is something we face every day. We'll be back tomorrow morning, beginning at 8 a.m. once again. Thank y'all for coming by and visiting with us. It means a lot for you to spend a little time with us. Britt, thank you so much for...
You got a great show, Scotty Ray.
Thank you.
And enjoy seeing y'all when I'm not here, and I enjoy being here with you when I am.
you're going to be able to sing before long. That's coming up. We'll have all the mics fixed where Britt will be able to come do us a song. And I apologize for not having that today. Thank y'all for being a part of it. We couldn't do it without you. God bless, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning right here with Scotty Ray's Weather with Scotty Ray and Candace.
Scotty Ray's Weather is brought to you by